Hey, so everyone, we're here talking about my latest podcast with one of my favorite reality stars, Scheana Shay. Just published a book, right, that is pretty incredible. On my good side, I never really thought of her ever having a bad side, even though she talks about in the book her incredible struggles with mental health, particularly around postpartum OCD, which was originally misdiagnosed, and ADD. So I was kind of expecting a different personality side, but I only really see the good side.
She also talked about pursuing this diagnosis and doing a ton of different kinds of therapy.
She did mention some medication she's been on.
EMDR.
But that was the whole point, her resilience and her perseverance through what is a lot of criticism. And why do a reality show?
Talk about exposure therapy.
Yeah. Well, I have felt connected to her on this. And that's why I wanted her on the podcast so badly, because I actually think, and I've talked to other reality stars about this, that in a way, they're more accessible, right? And they are people most of us can relate to more. Why is it so popular? Well, it's so popular as they continue their regular life that most of us slog through.
And we see our problems reflected in them.
No real stuff.
And we're like, this is everyone's experience of life.
Yeah, like she said, divorces and custody battles and mental health issues and addiction, and all this happens in real life every day. So I think it's how people cope and deal with it. And look, all the breakdowns will happen. It is how you deal with it, and may it lead to breakthroughs. It doesn't always. But I just thought the kinship between us that I feel with a lot of our guests is that they do use their experience, like I'm trying to do, to help empower people and patients.
And to get real about your health, as you say. And for her, like talking about her OCD might mean that someone who loves her work reads this book and gets a diagnosis.
The earlier you get diagnosed, the faster you can deal with it.
Totally.
That's going to factor in.
Yeah.
And now, everyone, just stop listening to us and let's hear from Scheana herself. Hi, Scheana.
Hello.
How are you? Great to see you. Thanks for hanging with me.
Good to see you.
So, look, I thought kick off really with just a question, as everything in my podcast tends to relate to health and healthcare.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of ask about this awesome book that you wrote.
Yes, thank you.
And really tell us a little bit, my listeners are all focused in healthcare and around healthcare. Was it cathartic and healthy to write the book? Did you do it for sort of health or mental health reasons?
Definitely for mental health, because I felt like for as many years as I have been on reality TV, you never get the full story. And there is so much more context to everything that happens. There are reasons behind why I've done the things I've done and said the things I've said. And I felt like, yes, for my mental health, I genuinely needed to set the record straight, and I needed to put it all out there, talk about literally my health, both physical and mental. I went into my traumatic birth with my daughter getting HELP syndrome, which is something that is so rare and a lot of people don't even know what it is. I go into my postpartum journey. I was diagnosed with postpartum OCD. And I've been in and out of depression since I was really young. So those were all key factors in writing this book that I wanted to touch on. And overall, yeah, there's definitely a lot of health-related stories and topics in this book.
No, and that's why I definitely wanted to focus on it. I think so misunderstood, right? I mean, I've gotten to know you, which I'm lucky, and I feel privileged to know you and Brock and become friends. And I kind of wanted to start by, in this beginning bit to talk about, your path here. How did you get here? And how did you go from life out of the spotlight into Vanderpump Rules? I mean, maybe let's take everybody back. What's the Scheana Shay origin story?
Yeah. So another reason why I wrote the book, I wanted everyone to have a full outlook on my life, because I feel like the show it is real, but as real as it is, it can't give your whole life story. It's an ensemble cast. It's not the Scheana Show. Maybe it should be, but no, I'm just kidding.
One day,
So
that's going to happen.
But that's the thing with an ensemble cast, so many stories that just get left on the cutting room floor and you don't get the full story. So as much as, yes, it is absolutely real. If I said it, I said it. There's no ventriloquist making me say things behind the camera. You know, these are my words that I have to stand by and be accountable for. But it is produced, it is edited, you know, and that's just how you make television. So I knew that going into this, but once you film it and then you relive their version of it, there could be some times where you're like, well, that's not really how it happened. But I mean, it is, you're just missing context. So it's why I wrote a book, adding all of that context that has been left out of my professional and personal life over the last 12 seasons on reality TV. And going back to me as a kid, growing up just outside of LA, always wanting to be an actress, be on TV, be in entertainment. That was always a dream of mine. I did school plays as a kid. I did theater in high school, and in college, I took radio and TV production. I majored in communication studies with my emphasis and focus in broadcast journalism. Being in the spotlight and working in entertainment is always something I've wanted to do, but I finally pursued it after I got my degree, booked a bunch of guest starring roles and co-starring and hosting and did all of these things. And then at 26 years old, I got an opportunity to be a part of a reality show, not knowing what a phenomenon this was going to become. I never could have imagined how global and for 11 seasons that this would have continued. And now, you know, stories are continuing on the Valley. And it's just such a blessing to be able to get paid to live my life, but to also be able to have my job be something that relates to so many people in the world, so many similar health struggles and things that we go through that I now have the platform to speak on. And, you know, now I am a mental health advocate. I do work with the International OCD Foundation, who are based out of Boston. I've done several things with them over the past year, and that is an absolute passion of mine. I feel like I've been kind of searching for that passion for so long, and what charity do I want to be a part of? And all of this just came together last year, and I'm so grateful to have this platform, to have podcasts like yours bring me on to talk about it more.
This concept of finding a passion, and what I've told people, what I love about reality shows when they're at their best, right? This is what happens. You get to talk about some things that other people find difficult to talk about or face or realize. And, you know, it's incredible the impact a story like yours has, because they see it, you know, and if you are then actively doing something about it, they can, you know, kind of follow that in a way that's positive for them too. So I actually, you know, that to me is the best thing about these shows. And I'm sure that's
and
everybody
our
thinks.
audience has grown with us. They've become parents with us. They've been on this journey for so long. And then there's also the kids who maybe shouldn't have been watching the show when they were 12, 13 years old, who are now of legal drinking age. And I'm meeting them out when I'm at a restaurant or a bar or something. And they're like, I've been watching you since 5th grade.
Well, when I hang out with you guys, I feel the same way, right? So anyway, it all keeps paying forward. So when you think about your life as a reality star, what's something incredible or something overwhelming about your work that people might not realize, that it's maybe a bit harder or more hectic than they see?
Correct. That's what I was going to say. I think people think it's easy. Everyone wants to do reality TV and just become an influencer, you know, on The Bachelor or whatever, and just like be famous and get money. And it's so easy. You just get paid to be you. And I'm like, I mean, some of that is true, but there's not anything necessarily easy that comes with reality TV. Sure, it's easy that I get to film with my family. I sometimes don't have to leave my house or put on clothes. I could film in my pajamas. You know, I don't have to put makeup on. So sure, in some sense, it's easy. but we're pouring our hearts and souls out, like blood, sweat, and tears for this show. And we've done it for so long. And that's not easy to keep getting back up, putting yourself back out there, falling down, getting back up season after season, being torn apart online. Everyone wants to tell you everything they hate about you. It is a lot on mental health. And it's something that I wouldn't have any other way. It's something that I've realized. I've been on and off antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication since my early 20s. And it's not like because of reality TV. It's been my whole life. But when you are on a reality show, it can be hard on your mental health at times. There are so many outside opinions that it's not just us living our lives. You know, it's not 15 years ago on reality TV when there's no social media. There's a whole extra layer and aspect to it now that does make it more difficult. It's not as easy as it was the first couple of seasons. You know, you fight with your friends, you say some dumb shit, you relive it, you do the reunion, you move on. But now it's having to hear hundreds and thousands of outside opinions. Like when our show started, Instagram was brand new. So now it's a whole new world.
So how do you handle that? You know, I hear different things, right? Shut off the comments or whatever. But my gut is, I know you, like, I bet you're looking. And how do you handle it?
Sometimes I look, sometimes I don't when I know it's not going to be good for my mental health. Like anything around the book when we were posting anything like Brock related and all of that, I'm like, I don't want to look at the comments on any of these posts. The Us Weekly post that had, you know, I was so proud to be on a cover, but then I have the word cheating right across me. And I'm like, I don't really want to post that on my page, nor do I want to look at any of the comments under it. So things like that, I filter for my mental health because I just know it's better if I don't see it.
I guess let's go there. You brought it up. I know enough because I know you guys and I know how hard you've worked at this and it happens. Like that's reality. So I guess that it reflects reality, but somehow everybody acts like it's something that's never happened in the world, right? And that I think is a testament to you and how much people love you and are rooting for you. So I'm sure they were upset. How have you guys muddled through that and worked through it?
Kind of to go back to the other question too, one of the things that we've both done and that I've done over the years is therapy. I think everyone should be in therapy. I think it is amazing for not only your mental health, but also like your physical health. When you get all of that load off you, you just feel lighter. You feel better physically and mentally. So I've done EMDR. I've done talk therapy. I do exposure therapy, like all of the things for OCD, ERP, CBT, all of those things have definitely helped me. And communicating with my husband, with my friends, with my family, talking about things that are bothering me, that, you know, are kind of stewing, that definitely helps. I think keeping things in makes it much more difficult. And I did that for almost 2 years. I kept my husband's affair a secret. I hardly told anyone. Literally 3 people knew for over a year. And that was it. Didn't tell my parents, no one. My dad didn't even find out until like a month and a half ago. It was like right before the excerpt was going to come out. We told him, not we, Brock. I said, you did this. He had to tell a lot of people in my family, and my aunt had a really hard time with it. She cried, and it wasn't easy for him. But I was like, look, there are certain people who are close enough to us. They don't deserve to find out about this from an excerpt in Glamour magazine. You got to tell them face to face in person. And we put it off till like the very last day. And we're like, okay, so hi, tomorrow this is coming out.
So there's a challenge in living reality TV, right? I mean, some things get ahead of you, you know, and that's a little bit hard to deal with. But do you think this breakdown led to a breakthrough for you two?
I think so. Honestly, I think are closer than ever. I think the trust is mostly rebuilt. I don't know that I'll ever be 100% there because my brain and my OCD just doesn't really allow me to do that. And every time I start getting my trust back after a huge betrayal like this, like Scandival, it takes me, time to build that trust back up. And then someone else betrays me. Someone else tells my secret to another person. So it's just like, it's frustrating because right when I start to trust again, something else happens.
But you keep trusting again. What do you think that's about? You have a certain level of resilience and toughness that you don't know. You're obviously stronger than you think.
Yes. No, I know I am very strong. I always get back up. I have magical power to just get over shit really easily. It may still be there and I might still ruminate with it, but overall, I can just move on. I think that's a great quality of mine, but then also at times, not necessarily should hold a grudge longer, but maybe I shouldn't always be so forgiving so quickly because not everyone deserves it as quickly as I have given it to them.
I have this values #deal with it, which you tend to do. And that's what reality stars, in some ways, you just have to because you live in the limelight and you deal with it, and it's a blessing and a curse. But I always wanted to ask this question: what would you be doing if you weren't doing this? What would the work be?
I honestly never thought about doing anything else since I was a kid. I've always wanted to be in entertainment. I know there was a point in my life where I thought, ooh, maybe I want to go to medical school and be a surgeon. And then I watched an episode of Grey's Anatomy and I'm like, I could just be an actress and not go to school and play a surgeon, But there was also a point in my life where I thought when I was in high school, I'm like, maybe I come back to my high school and I be a teacher and a cheer coach and just a normal, life and job. But once I graduated high school, went to college, took all of those courses, I'm like, no, I want to be in entertainment. So for me, there wasn't really a backup plan. It was just, I'm either going to be an actress, a TV host, a reality star. Wasn't really on my bingo card, but that's what it turned out to be. But I just knew my face would be on TV.
So you have a podcast called Shenanigans. What's your favorite moment from it? Is there one or two incredible guests or moments that you can think of that have been highlights?
I've been doing this for so long now, going on 7.5 years. Yeah, I started it, 7 years ago, 2018.
Another pioneering thing, yeah.
It's been incredible. I've had so many amazing guests on. Lance Bass was on my show way back in the day, and we've known each other for so long, and we've been friends. Our kids go to school together. We're together all of the time, but that's one interview from probably 6 years ago that still always stands out to me. It just flowed so well. I was doing live reads for my ads, and that whole conversation, I was just like, it's crazy, first of all, that I'm friends with you, but now I'm interviewing you, and I'll never forget that episode. And Ed Milet was another one, just a very motivational guy, author, all of the things. I need to actually, now that I'm saying this, I need to go back and listen to that podcast because I was very motivated after that. And I think I need that kind of kick in the ass again a little bit.
Yeah, we learn a lot from doing this. Mm-hmm. We're just talking about, we get really good ideas. But I will say, from my perspective, the way you and Brock have handled it, you'd never know. I mean, you seem like an incredible couple when Audra and I met you at the Super Bowl with Lance Bass. But I thought and think you guys, learn and live right in front of us. And I do think you do a freaking great job of it. And thanks for weathering this one too. Yet another of your many. So you're open about the miscarriage, fertility struggles, postpartum OCD. These are pretty regular everyday topics in my line of work. But how does sharing this help you and others? I mean, have people really responded? I imagine they have.
Yeah, those stories really resonated with a lot of people, especially talking about, miscarriage, unfortunately, is so common. It's 1 in 4. I know more people than I can count who have had one. It's a devastating thing to go through. And because so many women do go through it, talking about that openly was very important for me to just let everyone know, you're not alone. I've experienced this loss as well. I now have my amazing rainbow baby, but with having her after a loss, it was really scary. Postpartum OCD, I didn't even know was OCD. My anxiety, everything was just next level. It was so heightened. I was worried every second of every day something was going to happen. She was going to choke and die. She was going to stop breathing in her sleep. She was going to, like, there were just so many things that for me were a struggle. But I realized in talking about it openly, I've now helped women get a proper diagnosis by them resonating with my story, being like, wait, this sounds a lot like what I'm going through. It's not postpartum depression. It's often misdiagnosed as that, but postpartum OCD is a thing. It's a thing that a lot of people don't know about, and it is something that often gets misdiagnosed. So having that diagnosis, not just from my therapist, but also a psychiatrist. I saw Dr. Amen. I did the whole brain scan, all of the things. And hashtag confirmed, I have OCD. I'm going to go get tested for ADHD next, because now the more that I'm learning about OCD and the Venn diagram of the two go hand in hand, I'm like, maybe I could get some help in that as well. So just always learning more about myself and being so open about my journey, because I just know it's relatable, and that's why I love doing reality TV. I loved writing this book, as difficult of a process as it was. It finally came together. It made the New York Times best-selling list, not once, not twice, 3 times. And then it's 14 on audiobooks.
Awesome. And you recorded it, right?
Yes. That would have been so weird to have like a different voice reading my story.
Yeah.
So,
well, if it was good enough for Barbara Streisand, you can do it. I mean, come on.
yes.
Yeah, tell us some stories. Their book's full of stories, incredible stories. Were there topics that were more difficult than others to write about and talk about? Is there anything you left out?
Not that I can think of. Honestly, there are some points where I'm like, maybe I should have said less. There's some where maybe I should have said more. But overall, the bones of the story, I do not think there's one thing I left out. Maybe one day something will pop in my head. I'll be like, I should have wrote about that in the book. But that's the beauty of having a podcast, the ability to write another book one day. You know, if there are things that I start thinking about, I'm just going to start a new notes tab in my phone and just start writing out more ideas. But I think overall, I really did hit everything I wanted to hit in the book. Chapter 3, the whole Legally Brunette chapter with the Hooters lawsuit, that was something that I had compartmentalized for a while and I didn't think about for so many years. And so going back and reliving that, realizing how many details I actually did remember, but it had blocked out for so long, that was difficult to write, because especially now being a mom to a little girl, I can't imagine anyone ever violating my little girl. So that chapter, just from a mom's perspective, was a hard one to relive and write. All of the postpartum and birth stuff, it was cathartic to write it, but it was also hard to relive it and to have to read the audiobook. I mean, there were so many points where I'm choking back tears, but I did it. I got through it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm glad that I put everything in the book that I did.
And I do think you have a certain style, which is why I think you remain likable to people, is you're not a hammer edge person, right? You know, just not how you play. You're not mean, you know, and you're not negative. Do you find that that helps in all of this, that your basic outlook, despite all the things that you have, you're generally an upbeat, positive person?
I am. And I feel like I love that about myself. I do always try to see the brighter side of things. So I think it's a good thing. But then I feel like that could get me in trouble sometimes too, where people are like, Scheana, the world is not just sunshine and rainbows. Like, it's not necessarily always going to be okay. But I do try to live my life with the glass half full and hope for the best. But I know I'm a very strong person, and I'll be okay at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's true. I understand that you're coming back for more on the Valley. Why do you keep going back for more? Is it all going to be worth it? Because, right, there's a lot of noise about that show's negativity. So are they bringing you on more to give it a little positivity? What's happening there?
Maybe we will have to wait and see, but I think Brock and I being a part of it last season was to bring some fun into all of the dark stories that we were going through. But that's the thing with the Valley. Yeah, sure, the season was dark, but that's real life. That is the world we live in. So if they decide to bring us back for that, fortunately, we've already been through our darkest times, I think. So if that is in the cards for us in the future, I would hope that we bring some light and positivity to it.
How do you think you'll approach it differently than Vanderpump?
Whatever reality show I do in the future, whether it be The Valley, Bravo, Hulu, Netflix, who knows where the world is going to take me. I think that I am going to try my best to not worry about what other people are thinking, to not worry about, well, no, you have to make up with this person to be their friend. Like, I don't want to have beef with anyone. I want to have peace, but sometimes you're going to have some beef, you know? I feel like I'm in a more confident place in life with my voice where I'm going to call things out more and I'm going to stand up for myself more. I'm not going to let people walk all over me. So wherever our future in reality TV is, that is the way I want to approach it. I just want to be the best version of myself and someone who isn't a people pleaser.
Excellent. Well, I think it's going to be a little harder, especially as a mom. You really impressed me as such a great and dedicated mom. How do you balance that, all that you do with Summer and the 24/7 exposure of reality TV? How do you manage that? You seem to do a great job of it. What are the secrets?
Having a really supportive husband and family. Honestly, I couldn't do all of this without them because, you know, my schedule is crazy and my daughter's in school and her schedule is crazy. So trying to keep that stability and her normal life and her normal schedule is so important to us as much as possible. Keep her on schedule. You know, if there's a day where we have to film a scene and maybe she misses school or something like that, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But overall, she loves when there's a camera in her face. She's had one in her face since she came out of me, literally. So it's something that when she sees them, she gets excited. Sometimes she may get camera shy and not want to film. And if that is the case, then she doesn't have to. I will never force her to do anything she doesn't want to do. If it's too much, it's too much. Reality TV show kids, they're not getting paid. It's not a job. So when it's a job for her, if there's something that she's being paid to do, then the rules are a little different. But that is the great thing too about reality TV is when it comes to the kids, it is a little more flexible schedule wise and whatnot because you got to protect the little ones, you know?
Yeah, it'll be next gen New York City that your
yeah,
kid is
right.
on.
Next gen LA.
Right, exactly. Well, there you go. We've already come up with a new show. So we have a common name legacy thing, right? Tell us how the child got to be named Summer.
I was a huge fan of The OC. That show was my favorite when I was in high school. Rachel Bilson was one of my favorite actresses. I thought I looked a little like her. Like when I was a teenager, when I would go out to clubs and I had a fake ID and stuff, I would always tell everyone that my name was Summer. Because Scheana, and then it's like, how do you spell it? I was just like, it's Summer. And it was always a name I liked that I'm like, one day, if I have a daughter, like, I want to name her Summer. And when I said that to Brock, I was like, well, if we're having a girl, what do you think about the name Summer? And he loved it because also he has a daughter named Winter. And so he thought that that was something special that one day they could have together. But for me, it was Rachel Bilson and the OC. And that's the only place it came from for me.
I can't wait to tell Josh Schwartz all about this. So 2 questions I always ask everyone. But first, how are you and Lisa Vanderpump doing? Has she read it? And have you guys talked about it?
You ask everyone this question?
No, before I ask the questions,
Oh, okay.
I always ask.
I have not.
And we can cut this out too, but you know, I just
fine.
thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you ask everyone. No, I have not spoken to her. I don't know if she's read the book, but we haven't had any communication since.
All right. Well, let's see what happens after this podcast. What is your dream vacation is one of the questions.
Well, I've already done Down Under. That was my dream vacation, which I've done. I want to do again. Bali, loved it, did all of that. I have always wanted to go down to like Tahiti, stay in one of those huts, like the Four Seasons, like a really ridiculously expensive vacation, but I don't want to pay for it. So that's why I haven't done that yet. So One day that would be a dream vacay. I've always wanted to do something like that. Like Bora
That's
Bora.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you scuba dive or do any of that stuff?
Not really. I'm very claustrophobic underwater. I'm just convinced that I'm going to drown instantly. So when I've snorkeled in the past, I've never scuba'd, but I just kind of stay above water looking at the fish because I need to know I can just come up to breathe.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I mean, I love having a daughter for so many reasons, but she is the only person in the world who can completely get me outside of my comfort zone, get me to eat something I don't want to eat, to do something I don't want to do, and not in a spoiled way, but it's like I'm never going to say no to my kid in that sense. If she wants to try an oyster, I don't want to, but if she wants mommy to do that with her, I'm not going to say no. So we'll see what adventures we get into.
So you're on a desert island or you're being sent to one. What's the album you're going to take and it can't be good as gold?
It would not be good as gold. There's so many good ones. I feel like if I had to listen to one album for the rest of my life, I would want it to be like a classic rock compilation or like Elton John's greatest hits, Queen's greatest hits, like something in that realm is something I would want on repeat forever.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks. It always reveals a little something about everybody.
Yeah, I love it.
It is so great to see you. So great to spend time on this. Everybody go. If you want to feel good, read about the good side. It's so good.
You want to feel good as gold.
Good as gold, baby. That's right. I'll see you soon, I hope.
I hope so.
I may see you in Vegas for sure for the Rise Festival.
Yeah, for Rise. We're going Friday for sure.
All right, awesome. So we'll be hanging there and hopefully some more places soon. I know you're busy. I know you're doing a lot in healthcare. And we didn't even touch on the work you just did for Preparation H, but that was pretty awesome.
Never leave home without it.
It's so
You wanna know
true.
something funny? So recently, my daughter, she has to do a paper every month for jujitsu, and they have a life skill. It's focus, respect, whatever. And last month was preparation, and all I could think about is just an H at the end of that. But I'm like, we're not going to do that kind of preparation.
Too much prep.
Preparation, Tums, all those things. Need it. Put it in my body. Get my Zoloft. I'm good to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scheana. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on the Get Real podcast. I hope you feel a little healthier hanging out with me. It's going to be a lot of fun passing this along to others. Please subscribe below. Please share. I'm excited not just to talk about healthcare, but a lot of other fun topics. It's about making healthy talk about healthcare. It's not a lecture. This is supposed to be fun, and look forward to spending more time with you in the future.